Welcome to From the King's Pen. I'm Arthur Diaz and I'm here to share with you a dose of learning, writing, speaking, and trying to live a little bit better day by day. As you might notice, winter's not coming. Winter has come. I'm wearing quite a few layers here because even though I live in Brazil, in my little Camelot of the tropics, newsflash, Brazil can still get cold. Yes, I've heard people ask me, "Oh, but I thought Brazil was always sunny, it was always summer." No, we do get winter. We don't have insulated houses or buildings most of the time, so yeah, it can get pretty chilly. But in any case, I know I'm not here for the weather, neither are you. So let's get back to talking about self-development and improvement. I'll assume, or at least hope, that you've taken what I said in the other videos into consideration, decided the skill you wanted to learn or something you wanted to practice, and you have stuck to it. I hope you did that, and I'm going to congratulate you for it. Job well done. Putting in those reps is essential to learning anything you need, anything you want. However, as you start putting in more and more reps and building that muscle memory, like creating calluses as you play guitar, or building muscle at the gym, or just building the connections you need to do in your mind to put the skill into practice. As you get better, as you get from a beginner to closer to an intermediate level, or when you start to get good and not suck, you might notice that there's a lot that you don't know. There's more to it than you thought there was. Things are getting more and more complex. The more you learn, the more you see that there is to learn. And that's normal. That's good. That's a sign of growth. So I want to share with you what led me to the next level from going from good to great. And it's a thing called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is what helped me go from being a 9-to-5 translator, working at an agency every day, to becoming a freelancer who did quite well for himself and managed to get some high-level jobs, wound up interpreting on TV for the Orange Man himself, Mr. Donald Trump, on the US presidential debates. So how did that go? How did I go from someone who was stuck in a job where there wasn't that much of a growth perspective to being a freelancer in a much better situation? Deliberate practice is what helped me. So what's the difference here? Putting in the reps, just trying every day, keeping your pace at it, practicing chords every day, writing every day, anything like that, that's what could be called naive practice. You're just doing it for the basics, for that muscle memory, for those brain patterns. You're not focusing on specific areas. Deliberate practice is different from that. The first thing you need in deliberate practice is that you're going to have to set up focus points on it. You're going to get the skill you want to learn, or that you want to get good at, or get great at, and you're going to break it down into different components. You're going to divide it into subskills that you can practice one by one in isolation. I'll share with you what I did as an interpreter. When I started practicing interpretation, I started basically by mindless repetition, just taking speeches, listening to them, trying to speak them in another language. That was great to develop those first muscles, those first instincts of knowing when to start to speak and knowing what pace to keep. However, as I started getting better and it started getting harder and harder to improve, I needed to figure out what were the subskills involved in interpreting. For example, speaking. And even in speaking, whether it's within interpreting or in public speaking or any kind of speaking you're going to do, it can be further divided into several other subskills or things you need to pay attention to. For example, do you use filler words? Are you doing little pauses, weird pauses? Are you doing or other sounds or repeating yourself? Those are filler words. That's one thing you need to eliminate when you're becoming a better interpreter. How do you do that? How did I do that? Learning to think with my mouth shut, basically. Just kidding. What I did is I started to record myself in focusing my practice sessions specifically on that. I take a 10-minute speech, for example, that was challenging for me, and my goal was, I'm not going to stutter, I'm not going to go for any filler sounds, I'm not going to repeat myself. That was the only goal. I forgot about other things, if it was the best translation possible, if I was using the best words. No, I was focused on filler words. Then I'd listen back after recording and analyze it. How many filler words did I use? Was I able to really not use any? Did I use too many? Where did I tend to do it? Is there anything specific that is causing me to do it, that's tripping me up? Is it the speed? Is it some sort of vocabulary? And then work on that to improve it. Then I'd set a goal, because if you're doing deliberate practice, you're going to need to set goals for those skills. And they need to be measurable and specific, the so-called SMART goals. You need to figure out what do you need to do, what do you need to improve. So, fewer filler words. Or another example, vocal variety. If the speaker was using vocal variety, if they were going soft in certain points, I would record myself paying attention to that. Am I going along with the speaker? Can I really convey those same emotions, those same ideas? Or am I being flat and just being on the same tone every time? If the speaker goes on and sounds excited and expansive and so on, can I follow that along, at least to a believable term? That was another thing to work on. Focused on that. However, setting goals can be a little bit daunting, can be a difficult task. I know I find it difficult. I have two different tendencies when it comes to that. I'll either set very lofty goals, very difficult to reach them, and then I'll get frustrated because I'm not moving towards them fast enough. Or I set very underwhelming goals and then I don't really feel that motivated to go after them. That's where another pillar of deliberate practice can help you. Feedback. Seek feedback from your peers, from people who are at your level at the same skill, or at a close level, or that are a little bit better than you, but people who understand what they need to do to get better at that skill. Why? Because you have blind spots, because you might be either overestimating or underestimating your skill. You could be telling yourself, I suck, and that's not the case. You might be better than you think. Or conversely, you might be thinking, I'm crushing it. And no, you're not. You suck. But you need to figure that out. So you need to find people who you can rely on to give you honest feedback, constructive feedback, and preferably be open to giving feedback too, because you will learn from it as well, from looking at other people and see where they can improve and how much of that you can apply to yourself later on. Maybe you'll see something in other people that you already do. Maybe you will see something in other people that you could do, and all of that will help you grow. But again, always constructive feedback. Don't be a jerk. That won't help anybody. You won't get more feedback from it. You will only piss off people. You need to be constructive. Tell people what they need to improve on, but don't rub it off, okay? Don't be a jerk about it. Tell them what they need to improve, why they need to improve it, how they can do it. And then that will help them and you. With feedback, of course, you're also networking. You're meeting more people on that skill. If you're doing that for business, that's great. You get more people who can refer you, or more people you can work with in projects. If it's a hobby, great as well. You're developing more connections, more relationships, so there are only benefits to doing that. Another pillar of deliberate practice is abandoning the comfort zone. There's no growth in the comfort zone. If you sit in your comfort zone, you're not moving anywhere. Sometimes I don't like saying abandon it because it can seem scary. I like what a friend of mine says, that you should constantly expand your comfort zone. Take a little step out of it and get comfortable there. When you got comfortable, you expanded that comfort zone, you take another step, and then another, and then another. That way, you're always growing, but you don't have to really feel uncomfortable all the time, because that's not sustainable. That can lead to burnout. If you're always anxious, always stressed, always worried, that will lead to burnout. That's not what we want, right? So keep on expanding your comfort zone, little by little. Lastly, I'm going to go back to something I've already said a few times. Consistency. Consistency is essential. There's no point in putting in 200% effort today, 0 tomorrow, 0 the next, 0 the other day, no point in that. You need spaced repetition. If you're going to practice not using filler words every Monday and Thursday, do that. Maybe on Tuesday and Friday you can listen back and reevaluate it. If you're going to practice your scales on Mondays and Wednesdays, do that. Then on Tuesdays and Thursdays you can practice songs that use those scales, and so on. But the fact is that you need the repetition. You need to be constantly reviewing what you do. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll be consistent here in demanding consistency. One-off efforts rarely pay off. You can't do much with a single one-off effort. It's not very useful. There's a limitation to what you can learn in a single sitting. If you just watch a course at 2 times its speed and watch the whole course today but never look back at it, are you going to remember anything? No. If you watch 10 minutes every day and work on those 10 minutes and review it, much better chance that you will be an expert in 30 days than by sitting through it and binging for a single day. So, let's go back to the pillars that I mentioned. You need to break down the skill. You need to have goals for improvements in those subskills that will lead to improvement in the skill as a whole. You need to get and give feedback. That's very important. You need to be willing to expand your comfort zone, to step out of it, to always try things that are a little bit more difficult, a little bit out of your reach. And you need to be consistent. Is there anything else you need to do besides all of those things? Yes, there is. Rest. Give yourself some rest too. You're going to get burned out if you keep just pushing and pushing and pushing. You're going to need to take a break from time to time, and that's okay. Factor in those breaks. Don't take a break for 2 weeks. Don't take a break for 5 days. Take a 1-day break. Work on your skill from Monday to Saturday, and on Sunday, go to the church, go take a walk, go do something different. Keep it fresh in your mind. Keep it calm. Give your mind time to breathe and to learn. Don't overstimulate it. All right? I hope this has been helpful. I hope this inspires you a little bit. And if it does, I'd like to ask you to comment, consider sharing, liking, and subscribing. I mean, help out a friend, right? If it is good for you, it can help someone else. If you didn't like it, well, share it with an enemy. I don't care. Just send anyone my way. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time with more doses of insights from the King's Band.
Sitting in the highest tower on a castle made of sand, watching the pieces all fall down. I don't own a throne, no, I don't even own a crown. I just sit and I watch it all fall down. Sitting here, it gives me the time to take the time and I'll make the time to pick the pieces from my mind.